Hello, y'all. Let's move this way. Here we go. How is it going, everybody? Whew. I hope you are doing well. I gotta say, it feels weird live streaming 2 days in a row. I don't know how, like, the 5 days a week YouTubers do it. Oh, man. I hope you guys are doing well since I seen you yesterday. Hey, Allison. I had my first day back to my real job today, which is alright. It felt like a breather compared to the marathon I ran for like 5 days straight of nonstop filming for bands, and uploading and contenting. Yeah, I think I have something like 220 videos recorded from the festival. Sent all the footage over to the Highlight Festival last night at midnight. After like naming all the videos to the band's names, and just so it's easy for everyone to find, because they're gonna send it out whenever they send it out. But yeah, I think, I don't know. I want to do it again, but it's a lot of work. Kind of wanted to do. You've been watching the episodes, but too busy watching Beyond the Gates. Fair enough. I can't do it, man. I wanted to love it. I wanted to love it so bad. And just the acting was just too much. Too many horrible actors on that show. And it sucks for the good actors that are on that show. It just makes watching not that fun an experience. Sounds like a lot of work. It was, but it was also a lot of fun because I got to work with my bass player and his wife. They're both dear friends of mine, and they're so good at what they do. They're video bloggers, and they always video blog festivals, but this was definitely the biggest one they've taken on. So yeah, it was cool to see, and I can't wait to see like their full video blogs of the experience. Obviously, I have cameos in probably all of them at this point. Because we were just by each other's side, if not like on opposite sides of the rooms, kind of eyeing each other and like switching spots just so we could all kind of have our own moments in each sort of area. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of work, but a lot of fun. And the footage turned out great. And eventually people, I mean, if you want to see the footage for yourself, Instagram right now, Music and YEG, is where all that content, well, not all of it, but, videos of all 29 bands are currently on there from the festival. Right now it's one video each, but there is so much more footage that I'll be utilizing for a Music and YEG YouTube channel that I'm going to be relaunching, revamping. My goal for like all the footage is to make a documentary about the overall experience of Highlight Festival, which I love because I've it's been around for 3 years. I've been to all three. The first year I went just as a fan of music. The second year I performed my first show at Highlight Festival, and the third year I got to create content for it for the entire thing. So I've been there in several different capacities now, and this one was definitely the hardest. As like stressful as it was to put on my first concert, just gearing up for it, rehearsing with the band, rehearsing at home whenever I could. Also, like fighting a cold leading up to that first concert, which sucked, and it was terrifying too. But eventually, I think like a month before, I got better, but like it just felt like I couldn't give my all until like the final stretch of it, which was a little nerve-wracking. And now I'm back to square one in terms of like trying to create a new show, new songs, new ideas, make it fun, make it a little sexy. I got some plans. But May and June, my band dudes, AJ and Rob, they are kind of doing their own tours, which gives me time to kind of flesh out my ideas before kind of showing it to them and being like, hey, think we can pull this off as a band? So yeah. Good times. Yeah, honestly, like, I've definitely had some writer's block, in the last few months, and mostly because of things that I was going through personally. I was also, sick again, so it's hard to write songs and not be able to sing them, because I'm the kind of person that, like, I have to record the demo so that I don't lose what I wanted to do with it. Sometimes I'm like recording as I'm writing, so Allison, you said, was the concert outside in a park or expo center? So it took place. Highlight Festival takes place in several different venues. So all indoor, because it's April is a tricky month, just in general for Alberta weather where I'm from, because it could be winter, or it could be boiling hot, or it could be somewhere in the middle, and it consistently stayed somewhere in the middle through like 90% of it. But one night it actually snowed. It didn't stay on the ground, but there was flurries. So I don't know. But yeah, so it was 29 bands, but it was over a 5-day period. So really, like, there'd be like 4 to 7 bands per show. One day in particular had 2 different shows on the same day, but after, like, one after the other in the same venue. So there was like a show of 5, I think, and then a show of 7 or something like that in the evening. And like we couldn't venture out too far, so between the shows. So me and Rob and Harley, we all went to the new gay bar that opened here just this past weekend. At least you weren't at Coachella. Listen, I would have killed to be at Coachella. Horrible conditions and all. So after one of the highlight nights, I came straight home, which was like 1:30 in the morning, and hopped right onto the live stream to watch Lady Gaga's Coachella. And I was not disappointed, because she literally just gave the performance of her career. And I don't say that lightly, as like a Gaga connoisseur that I am. Absolutely her best. And it was crazy, and the production value of that was insane. Which to that end, Highlight Festival every year falls on the same time as Coachella every year. So I'm having to like sacrifice watching the whole thing. And I'm a guy that likes so many different genres. So like I be, usually before Highlight Festival, 3 years, 4 years ago, whenever, they were shit in the showers. That is the least surprising thing. Music festivals are gross, okay? I've never been to Coachella, but I have been to something called Boonstock, which is very similar to Woodstock, except it was very, it was a lot more variety, I would say, in terms of genres. Like, it was rock, but there was also, like, EDM music and pop and rock, and and metal and just everything under the sun. And like 2 days, I think 2 or 3 days, I can't remember, of like camping in a gross cold field, and drunk people, high people everywhere, and I got a freaking, what do you call it, a lawn chair to the head once from some crazy person outside of the tent, just randomly throwing it at random tents. But yeah, like, listen, I can't afford Coachella anyway. Okay, like, Coachella is crazy expensive. Tickets alone are expensive, but then you have to consider the flight to get there, your accommodations, the shuttle to get to the actual event park where they have it, and the food, I hear, is crazy expensive. I would probably use tampons and shit in the shower. I was done. Dang. I mean, listen, if money was no object to me, I would go to Coachella for the music, obviously, and I would go home and sleep and shower and do all this stuff. Or by home, I mean like a hotel. I ain't gonna sit there and camp. I know it's like the whole Coachella experience, but like, I've experienced that in other music festivals. I don't need to experience it again. I don't need to camp among the rich celebrities and influencers that are all there doing the same thing. I would just be there for the music. Never be able to handle. Angel, were you there? No, you weren't there, right? Or were you? Or is this just like all the stories? Because I know that there are stories. I didn't bother like looking into those videos of people talking about it, but like, I'm aware. And I can imagine how gross it would be. But there are several bands that I would have loved to see in person. From like smaller, lesser known people to the Gagas and the Charlie XCXs and all that stuff. You said, I love Lady Gaga too. She's nice to see in concert. She's got vocals. I'm bummed she isn't coming to KC. She got vocals and production. That girl, I was lucky enough to see her in concert in 2017, like right after she did the Super Bowl. And I got to meet her, and I got to meet her parents, and it was the most crazy experience of my life. Well, not the most craziest. I've had other crazier experiences, but that was just a larger than life moment that I will never forget. Fair enough, Kaiwan. Never could handle unsanitary conditions, though. Yeah, that's true. Like I said. Yeah, I don't got Coachella money either. Things are good, ETM Machine. How you doing? Oh, you saw her in 2011. See, that's like peak Gaga. I got Joanne Gaga, who was like super sweet. Like, honestly, like, I don't know. So I did the whole VIP experience, okay? Because it just so happened that I was saving up for a trip that I didn't end up going on. So I had like so much money saved, and then she announced the tour. So I was like, you're only going to do this once. Just go all in, get the VIP experience, the meet and greet, the backstage tour, the whole 9 yards. Seeing the band rehearsal, all the whole 9 yards. But I got luckier because, so everyone else, like, there was like maybe 1 or 2 concerts before mine, like in terms of like her tour. I think maybe it was just Vancouver and then Edmonton. And I was kind of going on to message boards and hearing like what the VIP experience was like. And they said, oh, like we only got to meet her for like a few seconds at like just before the show started, and we couldn't really talk to her, all this stuff. And I was like, oh, that sucks. But on my day, she just decided collectively to just rebel against security and like come hang out with us during like the band rehearsal. So and then like brought her parents over to us. And this is like, she wasn't like in her makeup and stuff yet. She's just in the shorts and a sweater, and like just kind of like Snapchatting along the distance. And like how we spotted her is there was a security guard kind of near us, and he was in the radio being like, is she aware there's people here? So we heard that, me and the two people that I was hanging out with there, and we were like, we're like, what? And then we seen her in the distance, like walking out and Snapchatting and whatever. And then she went back at stage again, and then she came out with her parents, and then she came right up to us and just hung out with us for a while. And I got to have like a full-on conversation with her mom, and it was like, it was the craziest thing. It was the craziest thing. Got a new couch for $15. That is a deal. Is it comfortable? Is the question. Now, that said, I don't know if Coachella is necessarily on the bucket list. Like, if I were to pick a music festival to go to, it would be, oh my god, what is it called? I feel like it's called Fire something. It's like a huge festival. It's in the desert, but it's not Coachella. And I'm just blanking on the name of it. But I feel like it's more like, more EDM than like bands. But it just feels like the most like unhinged, unfiltered kind of music festival where it's like no holds bar and just crazy fashion and crazy like Fire Festival. I don't know if that's what it is though. That doesn't seem. It's one like there's all these like artistic like wooden sculptures and stuff that's there and everything. That is the only thing that's in my head about it. But that was always like my like bucket list one when I was thinking about going to festivals. They jacked that out. They felt like they were dying. Yikes. Well, you know, these were like my goals like 15 years ago, okay, to be fair. But I don't know. You know, one day if I make it big enough to have enough money to just go to these things on a whim, then perhaps. I would love to see Lady Gaga on this tour. She's not coming to Edmonton. She's going to Toronto, which is like a 4-hour flight from here. And the concert just so happens to be on my birthday, which is like, wow, that's a coincidence. But also like the month before, I want to go to Montreal for Linkin Park. So I have to choose. And Linkin Park's really like been a big thing for me this year. Just like their comeback and, you know, new chapter with Emily and the music's just really good and it's got me through some hard stuff, just like Linkin Park used to do for me, like back in the day when it was Chester and I was an angsty teenager. So I don't know. Want to know if I can handle an amphitheater? Well, that's like, I feel like that's an achievable goal. Why not? Burning Man. Thank you, Kaiwan. Thank you. Yes, Burning Man was like my ultimate goal. I was never like, oh, Coachella. Like, it's like Coachella gets live streamed, you know. So like I am perfectly content with like being at home and watching that shit, like, and just enjoying it from my house in like the spring weather that we have here at this time of year, and just like maybe like, you know, some booze and some like good food, and just blasting it on my TV and switching the live stream channels to go to wherever seems the most interesting to me, and just like noting things to add to my playlist. Angel, you said, so you like the new singer, Linkin Park? Yes, I do. I think that she does a fantastic job. And I am a Chester stan, okay? Like, Chester probably saved my life more times than I can count when I was in high school. But Emily won me over pretty quickly. I know there was like controversy with her in terms of, you know, the religious ties and, you know, controversial former friends of hers and all this stuff. But like, the fact that she's a part of Linkin Park is kind of like a big FU to like all of that, just because of what Linkin Park stands for. So respect. And also, her voice is crazy. Her voice is crazy. Like, I've watched like live performances of the tour so far, because they're like Linkin Park's, whoever's doing Linkin Park's social media, their YouTube, their Insta, is like smart as hell, because they're putting like full on, like, you know, well shot, well audioed performances from different stops on the tour. And like, just hearing how she's killing, especially the new stuff, has been just like crazy to watch. But yeah, I don't know. I'm in the camp of, you can enjoy both versions of Linkin Park. And I do. And I still listen to old Linkin Park, and I love the new Linkin Park stuff as well. Like their stuff, I think people are always going to compare like Chester and Emily. It's inevitable. However, I don't know. I've managed to sort of separate the two, in the sense that, like, you know, Chester's just not here anymore, and it sucks. And I bawled my eyes out when he died, and I bawl my eyes out every time the anniversary comes. And I repost my covers of Linkin Park songs that I've done in the past on my Facebook and all this stuff. But I think fundamentally, like, the vibe of Linkin Park is still very much what it was back then. And a lot of that has to do with Mike, who produces the music, who writes the majority of the songs, including all the songs that Chester's famous for. You know what I mean? So it's like, Mike, to me, has always been the brain power, while Chester was the voice of it. But it's a voice that we can't hear anymore. So they need a new voice, and they've got one, and she's doing a great job. And, like, I think what eases me for it, too, is that she was a Linkin Park fan. Oh my goodness. Linkin Park fan to begin with. You know? She started wanting to sort of scream in her singing because of Chester, and then had her own band for like 15 years. And I think they're still doing things together as well, despite her now being in Linkin Park. And she just seems so like laid back and chill. Like, I like her vibe, and she's kind of like her own person. I don't think she's trying to imitate Chester. She's just doing her vocals the same way she did in her other band, and she's just being herself. And she's getting along well with the guys, and the new drummer Colin, he's really fantastic too. So I don't know. There's just, I'm happy. I'm just really happy to see that they felt strong enough to come back and continue the Linkin Park legacy, because it's not an easy thing to do. Because Chester, you know, he's in a league of his own, you know. And he's a legend for some reason. But I always, like, over the years, like, Linkin Park sound has always been different every album, kind of. And I felt, especially back then, like, people were treating him so poorly because, oh, this is not Linkin Park. They were just shitting on Chester all the time. And that angered me, because, like, I'm of the belief of, like, let artists do whatever the fuck they want to do. Let them, like, experiment with new sounds and, you know, different vibes. And, like, do I have a favorite era of Linkin Park? Of course I do. I loved the original era more than, you know, the eras that followed up until his death. But that didn't mean I didn't enjoy the rest of it as well. It's just different phases for different parts of your life, you know. But I feel like this last album they put out with Emily was just, I don't know, it felt very much like the OG Linkin Park. Two-Faced, their song Two-Faced sounds like it's right out of Hybrid Theory. And so do a lot of the songs on that album. So it felt nostalgic and at the same time new. I love Metallica too, by the way, Allison. But yeah. I don't know how we got onto Linkin Park, because I'm hoping to see them in August. So, yeah. That's how I feel about them. But yeah, I don't think I could do sitting on the ground and camping out at music festivals again, guys. I'd have to go back to a place with a bed. I'm in my 30s now, y'all. I'm not like a spring chicken. It's hard for me to get into the fray after Isaac Slade left the band. That's fair. Like, there are bands that are like that for me too, absolutely. Like 3 Days Grace when Adam left. Like, I just could not get on board with the new singer. I didn't like his voice. And now Adam's back with 3 Days Grace, but the other guy is also still there. And I've only heard the one song that they put out as a duo. And I didn't love it. So I don't know. And they're here too. 3 Days Grace is coming here again. I seen them back when Adam was in the band. So I don't know. Not all bands can sort of successfully bring on a new singer and continue to go, but they're thriving right now, Linkin Park. Like, they're on a stadium tour. Like, their stadium tour in Brazil and like sort of the, you know, the south end of America South America, was like huge crowds. So I don't know. And people, like, just watching reactions on like YouTube and stuff, a lot of people are loving the new stuff, and I am too. So I don't know. It just feels like a little piece of our childhood is back, and even though Chester can't be there for it, you know, I'm glad that they are back, and like kind of getting me through hard times again. So yeah, it's been like an emotional roller coaster for me overall. Especially like when they did the live stream, no one knew what was gonna happen. Like, we're like, okay, they're doing this live stream. What is this? Are they gonna make an announcement? I think there was always rumors that there was a new singer and that they were going to be female, but no one knew who it was going to be. And it was like a live show, and they introduced Emily, and I had to give her props to just be able to do that, because I'm sure she was shitting bricks. like you're just revealing yourself in front of a crowd and also on a live stream to millions of people who are, you know, like, on all accords, like, we're going to attack her one way or the other, because no one could replace Chester. But Chester's not around to replace. He passed away, and they're in a new era, and their music's still very much Linkin Park, because most of the founding members are still there. Mike is still the brain power, the producer, the lyricist. So it's working for me. Angel, you said, I'm happy Tom went back to Blink-182. Me too. You know, I only got to see Blink without Tom. And Blink was too expensive when they did their tour and stopped here last year. So, or the year before, whatever it was. But it is what it is. Talking about Mike Kaiwan. Mike is the rapper in Linkin Park. And I love his solo stuff too. And, you know, they're like Linkin Park, how they are now. Mike, I feel like Mike plays a bit of a bigger role, rightfully so. But his and Emily's vocals work really well together. We're hearing him sing more than he did back in the day. And he's also rapping, and he's experimenting with new ways of rapping as well, and I don't know. And he's still killing it. I wish I could scream like Chester or Emily. That is the goal. I would love to do some screamy songs, and I've thrown it in here and there, But I, like, right now I can't sustain that. Oh, being behind the mix in the arena for Katy Perry next month. Oh, is that what you were... I feel like you were talking about this recently, right? I don't know. I don't hate Katy Perry, but I don't know. She's released some decent songs here and there, and that's about where my love sort of starts and ends with her. I just don't like her as a person. Blink 182. Yeah, they were so rebellious back in the day. And I love that Travis Barker has just collectively become like this big time producer that produces everyone under the sun, especially like 2020, 2022 era. Like he was everywhere doing everything at the same time, you know, putting out new, you know, bringing out new artists, also having artists switch into more like punk pop sounds, bringing Avril back into her punk pop sound, and I don't know. He just did a lot of good for that sort of bringing punk back into like the mainstream world. Not that it needed to be there. It's always been with me. Pop punk never left me. All right. You know, that's why I go to local shows all the time. But you know, it was cool to hear it like on the radio all the time again. Hey Nathan, we're just chilling, hanging out, talking about music festivals, bands. We've discussed Coachella a little bit. We've discussed Burning Man and bands like Linkin Park, Blink, 3 Days Grace. And just said, for the love of God, I wish Avril would come to Kansas City. Oh man. I'm not gonna lie, I am so worried about like any Canadian going to the States right now. Like in terms of like the things that have happened to certain Canadians for just like going over the border when they're there like legally and all this stuff, and like getting thrown into a detention center for like 12 days for like the most ridiculous shit. Like one girl got thrown into jail because she had a Canadian driver's license. As if that should make a difference where you drive. Especially in the States and Canada where, like, driving is exactly the same. I don't know. My boys, Calling All Captains, they're going on tour in America in, I think in May. They're on tour right now in Canada and doing a hometown show next weekend, which I'm going to, obviously. Yeah. She might know where it is, but you know, it's not up to her where she tours. It's really like her management team. Never heard of none of that. That's because like right now, like the news stations in the States are like hiding a lot of shit just to appease the current administration. Yeah, she's from Toronto, I think. Pretty sure she's from Toronto. Yeah, she's a Canadian baddie. Have I gotten to see her before? Yes and no. So the Juno Awards, which is just like the Canadian equivalent of the Grammys, I would say. I went to those once, and she performed there, and this was like 2004, so I'm like 14. And she performed, I think she didn't open up, but she was like second or third on the roster. Yeah, that stuff kind of appeared all over our news when it happened, Kaiwan. Like all different news stations, all different outlets. Just as like a warning, and that's why like U.S. is flagged for travel right now here in Canada, as in like advising against it. And to that end, like, also, Canadians have essentially stopped traveling to the States if they can help it. So, you know, bands that kind of have to go to where their fans are, but, you know, for like leisurely things, it's depleted a lot. And, you know, they're gonna stick around Canada or like go to other countries. Yeah, I heard about that El Salvador situation too, which is insane. Like, no due process. He's not even one of the criminals that they were actually trying to throw in jail over there, and they're refusing to take him back. Like, that's so messed up. That is so messed up. But yeah, no, we ain't going over there, Kaiwan. We ain't coming back until something happens, and he's either booted out or taken out. Not that I, you know, condone that violence, but if it gets to the point where, like, you know, he's pissed off so many people, I don't see it not happening with someone, whether it's a, you know, an American or someone from China or whatever other country he's pissed off. I just, you know, he's pissed off a lot of people. And I don't see the way that he's acting being a sustainable way of, like, you know, staying in power without someone fighting back. Oy, oy. But let's get away from politics, though. I don't want the live stream to end, y'all. Just because, you know, we'll get into GH for a little bit, because it's a hangout stream, but also I kind of wanted to discuss today's episode a little bit. Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of protests, and I've seen footage of the protests as well. And I hope to God that they do, because it's so unfair. And it's crazy that he's not doing anything about it. Like, he's such a monster, honestly. But yeah. Going into GH a little bit. I mean, the main thumbnail is Marco. I'll get into that first. And we kind of talked about it yesterday a little bit. But he was kind of outed as Jen Sidwell's son to Diane, and Jason had some words with him, and he's playing his cards pretty close to the vest. And it feels like the way that the show is sort of handling the character, they're not really letting in on Marco's relationship with his father all that much, because we only really seen him interact with his dad briefly. We've seen more of him with his mom already. But, like, he's obviously a lawyer for his dad's business. Whether he, you know, knows all the shady dealings or not is anyone's guess. Yeah, he definitely works with his father, because he's alluded to that. Like, you know, right back from his first scene, like, his father's name, kinda, or like a version of it, was on his card that he gave to Lucas. So, I don't know. I want Marco to be a guy who just has shitty parents, you know? But that's, like, I don't know, the sort of thirsty dude in me that is like that's like, I want him to be a good guy, I want him to be good for Lucas because he's so gorgeous and all, you know, like, that's my vibe with him, and I can own that about myself. But also, like, I'm so tired of, like, just villains taking over the joint. Like, you got Drew and Sidwell and, you know, like, I don't know, just shady people. This new political guy. You got like the professor, who's probably going to be scumbaggy. The WSB full of like shady people. Like, it's just shady people everywhere now. Allison, you said the only thing I liked today was Liz and Lucky. I liked them too. I mean, it's humorous having Amy just being so overbearing, and like Liz, Lucky, Lucas all doing like whatever they could to get her out of there. I like the lighthearted stuff like that. It's nice to see it among all the sort of the I don't know, just the drama. We need a little bit of a balance. We need some love in the afternoon, like the old slogans of soaps back in the day. So I liked them. And I hope that Lucas gets some information out of Marco, and I hope that Marco is truthful. Actually, Albert, Cameron Matheson confirmed he's a shitty guy. So you're wrong, and you gotta accept that, man. Sorry. Sucks to suck, and sucks to be wrong, but the actor himself has said it in multiple interviews now, that he is not a good man. So, wrong. Yeah, we need more romance and fun. Yeah, I agree. Like, and that's why I'm kind of looking forward to the Nurses Ball. Like, it'll be like, I'm sure there'll be a little bit of drama, but it's mostly just going to be good performances and, you know, like, just some like fun, campy, like, cringy stuff. And I'm down for it. I'm down for it. I'm down for cringe when it's supposed to be cringe. Oh, do you mean Christina? Yeah, I still love you too, Albert, even though you're wrong, and you've been proven wrong by 90% of the audience and the actor that plays him. But yeah. What was I saying before? Yeah, I'm over the Christina stuff too. I need her to just be held accountable for something for once in her damn life, and like get thrown into a sanitarium and get some help. Lord. At this point, if she goes after Ava again, because Ava's bound to push her buttons. I feel like if anything, Ava's gonna goad her to do something so that she can sort of get more money out of Alexis. Should she try anything again? She's totally gonna goad her, because that's just what Ava does, Yeah, you're right. Christina is a mess, and Alexis is an enabler, and it just hurts her daughter more and more and more. And it's like, come on, it's nuts. It's nuts. But yeah, I don't know. I'm over it. Like, if things don't happen in May, like that sort of put an end to Christina's madness and an end to Drew's reign of terror and Willow's stupidity, like, I don't know, man. Also, I didn't realize it till just yesterday, but Drew Garrett was on Maurice Benard's podcast looking cute and making me miss his version of Michael even more. And, we need a Michael. We don't really need Chad to have Michael. And Drew is right there, probably ready and willing at this point. So, ball's in his court. Man, I mean, no one has, Kaiwan, you gotta stop right there, because no one has insinuated that Laura is one thing or the other, just like they haven't listed Drew as one thing or the other. But I think we're seeing firsthand in the States which political group is more violent, considering random people are getting sent to El Salvador without due process thanks to a certain Republican president. And Canadians are getting arrested for literally nothing and being detained for like 12 days. So, I think we know the answer there. Can I have a younger Michael? No, soon, no spoilers. I mean, it's always rumored that Michael is being recasted. But like they have to bring him back. They can't wait for Chad forever, you know? But yeah, they're doing politics, but without bringing the actual parties. They're not saying who is what. So, which kudos to them for doing that. But yeah, I think, what was I gonna say? I had a point I was gonna make about Michael. Yeah, they can't wait for Chad forever. I think they could recast him, and I think that if Chad wanted his role back, I sadly think that they would just say goodbye to the current Michael, whoever ends up playing him. I hope that it doesn't happen, but I would love to see Drew back as Michael, so I could like Michael again. I haven't liked Michael since 2009, y'all, and it is 2025. I'm so bitter about it to this day. I was like, what were they thinking? And like, supposedly Chad was the one that they originally wanted, and I'm like, why? What is the appealing thing to him? They need to bring him back before Sasha's baby is born. Yeah, I agree. Someone needs to tell Michael what Willow is doing with them kids, because, I think if anything, it'll motivate him to get better faster. He was a kid in 2007. Yeah, he was a kid in 2007, and then in 2009 he was a young adult, like 17. And I think they recasted him like early 2011, maybe? Or towards the end of 2010. But yeah. I enjoyed Drew Garrett more than Dylan Cash, who was the kid Michael, and Chad Duell, who was the last Michael. Yeah, no, I think he got shot in the head in 2008 as a child, and then woke up as a high school kid in a year later. So, I don't know. But yeah, even though like Michael was a punk, and not in a fun way, in terms of a character, but he played him really well. Nothing about Drew Garrett was that he was too much like Jason. Yeah, but that also had to do with the injury that he woke up with, Like, I think he eventually would have softened anyway. But, like, I don't know. I liked that Michael was kind of a bit of a rebellious punk, because that is very much on brand with his uncle, and I feel like if he was going to end up like anybody, it would have been Jason. Just because of all the shit he had to deal with as a child to begin with, even without the head injury. But yeah, obviously the things he went through, when he went to jail, also probably would have changed him as well, regardless of who was playing him. But I don't know. I feel like if I talk about Michael a bit, like Chad Duell was really good at playing like a vulnerable, sort of like unconfident version of of himself, or of the character of Michael that he was supposed to be because of what he went through. But like, I don't know. He just it doesn't feel like Michael should be that way. It feels like they reversed the characters of Michael and Morgan once they brought Chad Duell back. Or once they brought Chad Duell on, rather. Because Morgan was like the innocent, sweet one growing up, and then when they brought him back as an adult, he became the hot mess of the family, and Michael was like the level-headed one, so to speak. But yeah, I don't know. I would just like to see Michael back to face off with Willow and Drew. And I think it would throw them for a loop, because I think secretly, maybe not so secretly for Drew, but he's happy Michael isn't around to fight, because I think he knows like he'd be screwed. That said, you know, Drew is definitely going to use his political ties to do some shady things. I mean, he's already doing that, let's face it. But, like, you know, he didn't hesitate to use his political power to try to go after the Quartermaine Crypt. He also used his political powers to kind of, you know, put revenge on Sonny and Jason. And, like, you know, to the sort of realistic side of things, like, yes, Sonny and Jason are criminals. They shouldn't have businesses to begin with. They shouldn't be running an empire to begin with, especially with all the violence. But it's not about that for Drew. He just doesn't, you know, he's just bitter. Like, it has nothing to do with them being criminals, because he is hooking himself up with criminals already. Like, so it has nothing to do with that. Like, dude is working with Sidwell. We know the kind of villain he is. And, like, you know, this new politician guy that they have, whose name escapes me, like, you can also tell he's shady. Drew also doesn't hesitate to go to Selena Wu. Like, he's just, like, hanging out with other criminals. So it's not about the criminality of it. ETM, he said, thank you, now I remember what I was going to say. Do you think Christina's going to end up just like Morgan? Because he got crazy and he ended up dying. And I know it's because he wanted to leave the show. I mean, but like Morgan was also like bipolar and off his meds. Like, whereas Christina's not bipolar. If anything, I'm shocked that they didn't do the bipolar story with her. With all that she was like when she was a kid. And there was a while where Molly thought that she was bipolar as well. Okay, again, Kaiwan, they don't use Democrat and Republican in General Hospital, so shut up, to be honest. Like, let it go. And if we're gonna say that, you know, Laura's a Democrat, that means Drew and the other guy are Republicans currently putting criminals in their administration. Doesn't sound like the states at all. But yeah, they are not Democrat or Republican. They are politicians in a fictional world where they've never stated who is what. They should have done bipolar with Christina. I agree with that. It's literally like it practically would have written itself. I mean, I don't mind that they made Morgan bipolar. Brian Craig did a fantastic job with the story. Him and Maurice were like, they just worked so well together. But Lexi and Maurice were like worked so well with each other too, you know? So now we got Kate Manzi, and I'm not saying that she doesn't work better. Better or worse than Lexi does with Maurice. I think that they've built a good repertoire with each other. But I think that the chemistry between Brian and Maurice was magical, and same with Maurice and Lexi. And like for Lexi, I think back to when Sunny was found out to be alive. And it's supposed to be this like big moment of like, you know, all these characters reuniting with their dad, their husband, you know, their friend. And the only performance that moved me was Lexi's. Like, it's almost like no one else was like really cared. Like, they cared, but there was just no emotion to it. It was just like, welcome back, Dad. Whereas like Christina was like teary-eyed, and you know, and that was kind of one of Lexi's last performances on the show before she left. So I don't know. Yeah, Michael didn't care. Yeah, like none of like, even like Jason and Carly, like even their reactions to Sunny being alive wasn't really like all that moving for me. And there's been times in the past where like their reactions to finding out one of them was alive was, you know, because the amount of times they were thought to be dead or whatever, like they've been capable of it, but it's almost like there's just the last time round there was like nothing to it for all of them except for Lexi. I know it makes sense since she's Tom's daughter, because yeah, I mean, Sunny and Morgan, like, they're father and son, so they have it. Christina and Sunny are father and daughter. Now, that said, if you have a bipolar parent, that doesn't guarantee that you're going to be bipolar if you're the child. But it certainly would make sense, given how Christina can't seem to control her anger, like, towards Ava, and, like, you know, it's part that, but it's also part she can't accept the reality that she bears the responsibility of the child that she lost. And I think she can't face that reality. And I think that if she really sees that and, like, you know, finally realizes it or whatever, lets herself think about that, she would probably descend into madness. Truly. But yeah. We'll see. Maybe they will do the storyline with her. We don't know. Maybe she should get sort of checked for that at this point, you know? Give that girl a freaking diagnosis of something. Because she got something. But man, what was I going to say? I don't know. I don't have a whole lot more to say. You know, it's been a fun hour. It's been a fun hour hangout vlog. It was interesting doing 2 live streams in a row. Again, tipping my hat to all the YouTubers that like live stream 5 days a week, multiple times a day. I could never. I do not have enough time to do all that. But even if I did, I don't think I could do it. I'd need to, like, you know, I'm good with like the once or twice a week thing. And then, you know, I also got like so many different things on the go as well. Who's Karen Mansion? Who's Karen Mansion? Who does she play? Are we talking about GH? I don't even know who that actress's name is. Let me know. Kate mentioned. Willow? I mean, I haven't heard anything, but I haven't really had time to kind of catch up on like articles and stuff. Oh, Kate Manzi. Kate Manzi as in Christina. Sorry, y'all. Wait, what is Willow's actress's name? Oh, she's Caitlin McSomething. McMullen is Willow. Kate Manzi, I haven't heard anything, but I haven't also like caught up with like soap articles. But for the record, unless it's coming from like not Facebook, not YouTube, like a reputable source for soaps, like ABC, like Soap Digest and all these things, Daytime Confidential, things, websites like that, if it comes from them, then there might be some truth to it. 7 days. Again, I tip my hat to you, sir. But I don't know. I don't think she's leaving. They seem to like her. I don't know. I don't believe it. And until it comes from one of those big sort of soap sources, then like I ain't gonna believe it. Listen, my mom like every week will like stumble onto a YouTube video where it's like tragedy, death of a legend, and it shows Maurice Benard or Steve Burton on there like every week. These clickbaity bullshit things on YouTube gets on my damn nerves. Every time I see one, if I come across one, I just report it. It never gets taken down, but it like makes me feel better. I'm like, I refuse to go into their video to watch it. I refuse to comment on it. And then it's just like, it makes me sick. Like the things that people will do for views. Like saying that someone's dead when they're not. It's insane to me. And it's like, it works in their favor because it's like engagement when people are yelling at them in the comments and watching the video. So I'm like, I refuse. I ain't a part of that. But I will report the video. And like there's Facebook pages like that too. So I don't follow any of those Facebook pages. I don't follow any YouTube spoiler channels because, well, first of all, you guys know I don't like spoilers. I will only read casting news. That's all. Because I want to like enjoy surprises, like I don't want to know beyond like what the weekly promo shows, what's going on ahead of time. And I remember like back in like the sweeps days where you would find out every bit of the storyline, but then there would also be like other rumors sprinkled in there, and you think that things are going to happen. So I don't know whether that was intentional by like GH to put in false spoilers, but for the most part, like you could get everything, every single detail spoiled back then. And maybe it's still the same now, but I refuse to engage because it really did like ruin my experience. So much so that like I could almost predict things even now, like GH just has certain things that they do that and I've watched for so long that you just know when things are going to happen. Like when Christina fell out the window, I got spoiled like just before I got home to watch, and I was so pissed, y'all. I was so pissed. The biggest thing that could happen, and it got spoiled for me, and I was furious, y'all. Oof. I was like, this is the most interesting that's happened in months. And it got ruined for me. Like, damn. So now, like, I stay away from, like, anything that could make me come across GH spoilers. Yeah, it's a ruining of the experience. Like, I don't want to know what happens on my TV shows that I watch before they happen. It ruins the surprise and the excitement of it. And that's not just for like GH. That's like, I guess my my second most obsessed show viewing is 911. I love that show, and I will only watch the promos. I don't read any spoilers. Casting news, I don't really even pay attention to casting news for 911, to be honest. But I don't know. Ryan Murphy, who does like all these shows, like he almost never misses, you know what I mean? I think about it, like the first TV show I think he ever did was Popular. That was on the WB. It was called Popular. And I watched that show too, and I didn't realize it was a Ryan Murphy show until recently. And like in my head now, it makes total sense that it is, because it's campy and ridiculous. But I loved it. And I love American Horror Story. I love 911. So, and I love his monster series that he does, and changes things up every season. So, yeah. Yeah, it's better not to know. Preach, girl. It really is better not to know. It just makes it more exciting. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end the stream here. I'll be back on Sunday to recap the whole week. It's been fun hanging out and talking about everything from music festivals to the craziness that I went through the last week with my filming gig and the GH stuff and even politics a little bit when we're not bleeding it into the soaps. And just so you guys have a window of like what's going on in Canada, because y'all get stuff hidden from you now. It's sad, but yeah, I will always be me till they close the coffin, brother. All right, but yeah, thanks for watching. If you like this live stream, thumbs up it, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and I will catch you guys this Sunday for General Hospital After Show. Good night. Enjoy the rest of your week. Mwah.